Hello and welcome to Rise Unwind. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week we talk to people from across the country about things you could do in your neighborhood. It's 2026 and we're launching off a new year with a good start. So what's on the show? We got this.
Linda Tong's content on TikTok is fantastic. If you'd like to see how she creates these calendars behind the scenes, you should definitely check her out on TikTok.
And really understanding each other and each other's history and what you're bringing to a scene and how you really kind of create that, you know, I love you so much, but oh, do you make me angry?
You know, we're not just telling our own stories. You know, we're trying to, every time we're writing songs, you know, we're trying to help tell other people's stories. So that's the goal every time.
All of that and more right here on that show we like to call Rise and Unwind.
Ever feel like flu season keeps getting worse every year? This past season was one of the most severe on record, with over 260 pediatric deaths reported across the country. We're joined today by Dr. Candice Robinson, Director of Scientific Affairs and Public Health for U.S. Vaccines at GSK, and Megan Parks, a mom and advocate with families fighting flu who tragically lost her daughter to the flu. Welcome to you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Robinson, what exactly is the flu and who's most at risk for serious complications?
Yes, the flu is a respiratory virus, and it actually is quite contagious. It can infect the nose, the throat, and sometimes even the lungs. And it's spread between people through tiny droplets when people cough or sneeze or talk. There are some people who are at increased risk for having serious flu-related complications if they get sick. This includes people who are 65 years of age and older, people with certain chronic health conditions like asthma or heart disease, pregnant women, and young children. But the harsh reality is that anyone can be sick from flu, and that includes people who feel healthy. Flu can really infect and impact some people at any age.
Megan, can you share how your family was impacted by the flu?
Yes. So our daughter, Kennedy, was a vibrant, otherwise healthy 2-year-old little girl. She got the flu in February of 2023. She tested positive after having some flu-like symptoms and a fever. Unfortunately, at that time, she was not vaccinated for the flu. We had always been really diligent with her vaccinations, but because of the annual pediatrician appointment not falling in line with flu season, she did not get vaccinated that flu season. When she got sick, we were told to keep her home, keep resting with her, and just monitor her breathing. After a couple of days, her lips started to turn a little bluish, so we rushed her to the closest emergency room, and about halfway there, she became unresponsive. I had to, pull over, call 911, do the CPR, all of it, and unfortunately, we lost her.
I'm so sorry. Dr. Robinson, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about the flu or flu vaccines?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of common misconceptions out there that certain people may have about whether it's worth getting a flu vaccine or, the effects that the flu vaccine may have. But the truth is the flu vaccine can help reduce the risk of flu illness, hospitalization, and even flu-related death. In fact, the CDC estimates that over 240,000 hospitalizations during the last flu season were prevented due to the flu vaccine. And this is primarily among those 65 years of age and older.
Megan, how has your experience turned into advocacy for other families?
It's become our family's mission to, help ensure that no other family has to lose a child to a vaccine preventable illness. We simply just didn't know how serious the flu could be. Like I said, we were really diligent with other vaccinations. We took pretty much everything else very seriously, but a lot of times you hear just the flu, and that's certainly how we felt. So we just really want to make sure that, people are aware of the risks and the fact that, it can be deadly. And, our family is an example of how our lives were changed by the flu.
Dr. Robinson, why is flu vaccination especially important this year?
As you mentioned, the 2024-2025 flu season was among most severe in recent history, with record-breaking number of pediatric deaths and overwhelming levels of illness and flu-related hospitalizations. But despite widespread awareness about flu, our flu vaccination rates have remained alarmingly stagnant, leaving millions vulnerable to flu-related complications and illness.
Megan, what do you wish more parents understood about flu prevention?
I wish more people knew that the flu is a vaccine preventable illness and it should be taken seriously. Like I said, it changed our family in an instant. And, our daughter was sick for less than 7 days. She wasn't even sick for a full week from her first symptom to when she died. So it is very serious. And, the best way to protect yourself and your loved ones is to talk to your family's pharmacist or, your doctor about flu vaccination.
Dr. Robinson, where can our viewers go to get more reliable info or find flu vaccination resources?
Yeah, absolutely. The flu vaccination are often offered in standard healthcare settings like the doctor's office, but you may be also able to get it in some place like the pharmacy. So really, it's important to talk to your family pharmacist or doctor about flu vaccination today. And to learn more about flu prevention, visit cdc.gov/flu.
Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Every January, a lot of us promise ourselves we're going to eat better, probably try to lose weight. This year, more people are talking about GLP-1 medications, but there's still a lot of confusion about what's real, what's safe, and what's actually covered. So joining us today is Divya Iyer, Senior Vice President of GoodRx, here to break down what people need to know as they set their health goals for the new year. Welcome to the show, Divya. How are you, my friend?
I am great. Thank you.
So we're hearing so much about GLP-1s right now. How are they changing the way people approach this New Year's resolutions?
Well, weight loss is a common New Year's resolution. And GLP-1s are changing how people approach it in a pretty fundamental way. Goals that relied primarily on willpower can now become more realistic, more sustainable, and more measurable. So GLP-1s are prescription medicines that help regulate your appetite and blood sugar and can help people manage their weight and overall health. So not surprisingly, the demand for these medications has surged. However, insurance coverage continues to fall short. The good news is that these medicines are becoming more affordable for Americans. And just earlier this month, the first ever oral version or pill for weight loss was approved by the FDA. So there's a ton of options out there, and GoodRx can act as that trusted access and affordability resource that can help people understand what's safe, what's effective, and where to start.
And you mentioned insurance. One of the biggest questions that people have is the cost. Are any of these medications covered by insurance?
It depends on which GLP-1 medication, what it's been prescribed for, and your insurance type. So generally, these medicines are covered when it's prescribed for diabetes, not so much when it's prescribed for weight loss. But the manufacturers of these medicines have recently put out more affordable cash pay or self-pay prices, and GoodRx has the lowest discounted cash prices available for these medicines. So the pill version that was approved earlier this month is available on GoodRx for $149 a month, and the pen or injection version is available for $199 a month.
And for somebody that is curious but doesn't know where to start, what is one of the best first smart steps?
The first step is to talk to your doctor or licensed healthcare provider. You can talk to your regular doctor, or there's a whole host of online telehealth solutions. At GoodRx, we make it very easy with GoodRx for weight loss. That's our online telehealth subscription solution for just $39. People can get connected to a licensed healthcare provider with virtual consultation, and if appropriate, will get prescribed GLP-1 medication. So the best place to start would be goodrx.com/GLP-save.
And we're also seeing a lot of ads online. Why does FDA approval matter so much, and how can people spot some of the knockoffs?
That's an important question. Because of the really high demand, and we had supply issues a couple of years ago, there's a whole alternate market of knockoffs for weight loss. FDA approved means that it's been regulated and reviewed and tested and proven to be safe and effective. And so when you spot a really low price, or if you can get these medicines without a prescription or without talking to a doctor, those are all red flags that it's a knockoff version. And if it says compounded on the medication, you know that that's not the real thing. That's not FDA approved.
And if people want reliable information or tools to compare some of the options, where should they be going?
People can go to goodrx.com/GLP-save, and that will help them understand the different options, what's right for them, and will also help them get started with a telehealth appointment.
Divya Iyer, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Do you ever feel like you're juggling family schedules, screen time, and self-care pretty much all at once? TikTok recently launched a new free resource designed to make those everyday moments a little easier to manage. So joining us is Lisa Hayes, TikTok's head of safety public policy, who are here to share how the new For You calendar can help families stay organized and how parents can tailor TikTok settings to fit their household. Welcome to the show, Lisa. How are you, my friend?
Thanks for having me, Dan. I'm doing well. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. TikTok's For You calendar just launched. What inspired this idea? And what problems were you hoping that it would solve for families?
Well, the For You calendar is our latest resource designed to help families have conversations about their online experiences and to build balanced digital habits together. If your schedule is anything like mine, you are still recovering from the holidays, you're getting the kids back to school, you're trying to stick to the New Year's resolutions. What I love about this calendar is that it is designed to help families work together to be intentional about how they are spending their time each week, both online and offline. It is a free physical calendar that lets you look at your week at a glance, planning your day-to-day activities alongside mindful moments. We've partnered with Linda Tong Planners. Linda is a very talented artist who has created this calendar in a way to spark conversation about families and to really make it easier to sit down with your teens, to think about how you're going to hold on to those 2026 resolutions and get to the end of the week ticking off everything you've planned to do at the start of the week.
And this calendar isn't just about appointments. It focuses on mindful moments. And how does that reflect what you're seeing from families using TikTok pretty much every day?
The calendar is not just about organization, it's also about connection. It is designed to help families start conversations about how you are spending your time. And the hope is that those conversations can help you build healthy habits as a family. I know in my family, we will be using this calendar every weekend to sit down and look out at the coming week together as a group. One of my New Year's resolutions is to try to get more sleep. So if I learn from my teenager that she has an early morning soccer game on Saturday, I know that I should not be scheduling a late night dinner on Friday. The idea is to spark conversation, build connection as a family, and all be moving forward through the week together, being intentional about how you are spending your time.
Okay, so I shouldn't be staying out till 3 a.m. when I have interviews at 8 a.m. Okay, I got this.
I mean, or maybe you should. It's about being intentional about whether you should be doing that and making a conscious choice about the right schedule.
All right. And you also partnered with small business owner and creator Linda Tong Planners on this. Why was it important to collaborate with a creator for this project?
Well, Linda Tong's content on TikTok is fantastic. If you'd like to see how she creates these calendars behind the scenes, you should definitely check her out on TikTok. It's important to us because small businesses are just a critical part of the TikTok community. And if you are able to go to the For You calendar hashtag, you'll get some ideas of how parents and others on TikTok, other creators, are using this calendar already with their families to plan those intentional moments.
And while families are organizing their schedules, you're also encouraging them to review their TikTok settings. What are a couple of simple tools that parents may not realize are already available for them?
I know we're asked to do a lot as parents. That's why TikTok has built in more than 50 safety and privacy protections for teenagers that are on by default. But every parent should take the opportunity at the start of a new year to go check out family planning. Family pairing. Family pairing is our tool that lets parents connect to their teens' TikTok's accounts and to put conversations in place as a family about what the right experience is for their teen on TikTok. How much time should your teen be spending on TikTok? Are there certain hashtags or filters that you might want to filter out of their experience? Every family is different. Every child within a family is different. And the family pairing feature lets you have the conversation with your teen about how to help make sure that their TikTok experience is not only safe, but is also fun and the right one for them.
And as a mom yourself, what advice do you give families living in this new digital world when it comes to finding balance? Not perfection, but balance.
Always start these conversations with your teens from a place of curiosity. What are they doing online? How are they spending their time? What creators make them laugh and bring them joy? In my family, we love watching TikToks together and seeing who interacts and relates with what content. I love travel talk. I mean, I love to think about future dream vacations. My daughter loves book talk. She loves to discover new authors. My octogenarian dad loves STEM talk and the latest science content. But the important thing is that we are doing this together as a family, building sort of constructive conversations about what we are doing online, and that we're starting those conversations from a place of curiosity, learning what everybody else in your family, particularly your teens, is doing online is my number one tip as a parent. Start from curiosity and let your teen teach you how they are navigating the online world.
Lisa Hayes, I want to thank you for joining us today. Where can we go for more information and maybe get this calendar?
Well, we want the calendar to be as accessible as possible, so we have partnered with Linda Tong to provide a limited number of the calendars for free by visiting lindatongplanners.com. She will ship you the calendar directly to your house. And as I mentioned, check out the hashtag #ForYouCalendar to get some ideas about how other families are using the calendar to build intentional moments online and offline.
Lisa Hayes, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Do you ever feel like everyone in your town knows everything about your life? Now imagine that. But, in the Arctic. North of North is Netflix's latest Canadian original comedy, and it follows Siaja, a young Inuk woman navigating small-town gossip, single motherhood, and discovering herself in the snowy, tight-knit community. She's fierce. She's funny and pretty much not afraid to fall on her face. And bringing her to life is the incredibly talented Anna Lamb, who's here with a fresh new series that's as heartfelt as it is hilarious. Welcome to the show, Anna. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so your character Siaja kind of like makes some of these big, bold moves right from the start of the series. What drew you to her story, and what parts of her journey felt especially personal for you to play?
I mean, from the moment that I read the audition sides, I was so deeply invested. I loved that she was well-intentioned, but so incredibly messy and complicated, and had all of these dynamics around her, a complicated relationship with her mother, an unsatisfying marriage, but a dream and an ambition that she wanted something else for herself. And to tell this story, which is like a second coming of age. This young woman deciding that she wants a life that she wants to live. She wants, something that is different, and she wants to put herself first for the first time in her life. Was so exciting. And the showrunners, Alethea Onakak-Burrell and Stacey Aucklook-McDonald, are, the producers of the first ever film that I did when I was 15 years old, called The Grizzlies. And it really was a full circle moment, coming back together and going from Grizzlies, which was this little indie film, to now North of North for Netflix. It was just, I spent months auditioning for it and many days crying about it, hoping that it would work out. And it did. And I'm so incredibly proud of what we created.
And I'm glad it did. The show, it balances comedy with some real emotional depth. How did you find that balance as an actor, especially with some of Siaja's tougher moments?
Yeah, I think finding it as an actor might have been difficult if I wasn't from Iqaluit, if I wasn't Inuk, because that is so representative of how we do navigate hard times in our lives and how we deal with things. Inuit humor, it can be so dry, it can be so silly, but, there's so much trauma that exists within our community, there's so much hardship, that a sense of humor is how we get through it and how we face the really difficult things. So doing that, and especially with Micah Harper, who plays Nevi, who's also from Iqaluit, having kind of being on the same level as someone and really understanding each other and each other's history and what you're bringing to a scene and how you really kind of create that, I love you so much, but oh, do you make me angry? Was so, what we knew already. So it was, I think as an actor, a real privilege to be able to get to do that swing of emotion, the really silly, like high comedy, kind of clowny stuff, all the way to, the heartbreaking kind of punches you in the stomach stuff.
And North of North, it's comedy, but it's also a huge moment for Inuit storytelling. What does it mean for you to be a part of a project led by Inuit creators, filmed in the Arctic, and starring an Indigenous cast?
It's so exciting. As we were getting ready to film the show and as we were filming the show, a lot of people would say like, oh, does it feel like a lot of pressure? Do you feel a lot of pressure doing this and telling this story? And shockingly, no, because the showrunners are Inuit women from the North. Micah Harper is an Inuk woman from the North. Zorga Khaunak is an Inuk woman from the North. And so it was like the shared responsibility of representing the community in the best way possible. And we got so much love back from Eqadungmiut, from people from Eqaluit, and from the territory as a whole, from the designers that contributed work to our show, to, other filmmakers that wanted to support us, to the community just showing up and supporting us in whatever way that they could. So it always reframed things in the big picture of, we're not just creating a show, we're not just, doing these roles and doing this for our own careers. It's always about the community, it's always about the bigger picture, and it's always about, telling the story and what that could mean for people when they watch it. So it's just been a real privilege. It's been really exciting, and it's been a beautiful thing to share this with, people that just love this show and love the North. And now, an international audience gets to watch it, which is pretty cool and exciting.
Anna Lamb, thanks for joining me this morning. Check out North of North. It's available now on Netflix. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Kelsey Hart has been making serious moves in country music, earning millions of streams, touring across the country, and writing songs for some of the biggest names in his genre. With his new single, Something That You'd Miss, it shows a little more personal, reflective side, and is the follow-up to his high-energy hit Fireworks. We're catching up with him today ahead of the release. Welcome to the show, Kelsey. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, Something That You'd Miss. It tells a vivid story. What's the backstory to this song?
Yeah, so it's a song I was a part of writing last year that one of my buddies, we were on a songwriting retreat, and he just started telling a story, kind of about a situation that he had been in that was similar to this, where wasn't anything, that really happened, bad in the relationship. The girl just, she had moved a long way from her hometown to be with him, and just decided, it just wasn't for her, so that's where the story stemmed from. And, he just said, I guess if I was more like her hometown, then I'd be something she'd miss too, and so that's where the song started. And, you hope that's something you never have to go through, but that's, the reality for some folks. So,
in your debut, Life With You, it really connected with some fans. How does fan feedback tend to influence the direction you take with new music?
Yeah, no, Life With You was certainly, it's really cool getting to hear all the stories on that. And I think anytime we step into a room, you're hoping to write something that people can hang on to and kind of put to their life. And we're not just telling our own stories. We're trying to, every time we're writing songs, we're trying to help tell other people's stories. So that's the goal every time.
And I always like to ask musicians and artists about their influences. And it's not the same way about like, hey, who are your favorite influences? Outside of the music genre, what type of other art or artists, could be actors, writers, authors, filmmakers, what other artists out there kind of inspire you and your work when you go in to write music?
Oh man, as far outside of the music business, I mean, if I'm the first person that came to mind, it was Will Ferrell. And I just think of, a guy like him, is, a comedian, the, funny guy, like not taking life so serious all the time. I think that's just a good approach to have, so I think the lightheartedness of a guy like him, is crucial.
And you've written for other artists as well. What is different about creating music for yourself versus writing for somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, we're always, kind of trying to write in the direction of what I'm doing, because I don't have a ton of time to write anymore. But it also just, at the end of the day, we can't record every single song that we're part of writing. So we'll just kind of break them down and see what we think, could possibly work well for another artist. And so I don't know if I think a ton about the differences of it. It's more of, kind of writing in my direction and then taking it and seeing what we can do.
So where does inspiration strike most when you're like writing new music? Are you like in the shower and realize, hey, I've been humming this little song, or out on tour with a guitar strumming around? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it just kind of comes from just daily life. And sometimes, hearing somebody say something, it can really even come from a conversation, the way somebody says something, or, you can pull titles and ideas from anything, and probably my favorite way to write a song is just going in to the room with a good idea, something that we can really, write around. So.
And you've been out touring. Is there a recent moment or some like fan connection or anything that when you're on stage that kind of stuck with you lately?
It's every night, it's kind of the same, with Life With You after we'll play Life With You as our last song, or one of our last songs. And then we'll do the meet and greets at the end of the night. And it's always the coolest part to me is just getting to talk to the fans and hear, their personal stories about, how the songs, have affected them and stuff. So I think every night that's probably my favorite part.
Kelsey Hart's new single, Something That You'd Miss, is out. Find it on all streaming platforms and get some of his tour info over at kelseyhart.com. Hey, Kelsey, thanks for joining me this morning.
Hey, thanks for having me, buddy. Appreciate you.
And that's it for the show we like to call Rise and Unwind. I want to thank you for tuning in for the beginning of the year 2026. Happy New Year to all of you. Hopefully you had some great holidays, and now we're going to be looking into the new year. And I'm excited to be part of that with you guys. So tune in each and every week. If you like the show, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Also, follow our YouTube channel. That's at Rise Unwind. Make sure you like, you comment, you share. All of the same stuff that YouTubers say kind of helps us too. So we're here to, show you cool things each and every week. So maybe help us out. And if you like the show, if you don't like the show, don't bother. It's okay. And until next week, that was the show we like to call Rise and Unwind.